DrivingMaul, your best flight road predictions and opinion. Guys, it's fun and games. I've got a new computer, trying to get it all set up. It's just we're having fun and games with the tech. But hey, joining me to talk all things rugby this evening, I've got Ashwin. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm tired and just lots of things to do before I get on a jet plane.
Oh, you going to come back again, or is that it? You're going to go? Is that it? You're gone?
No, I won't be back until next year.
Back until next year. So you're jetting off on a jet plane since the last time I can get to have a chat with you, and I've totally forgotten what we're going to talk about. I have got a whole list of stuff.
So I better get one in.
But you've got the dock open, so you kick us off, and then on something you know something about while I get myself up and running.
Right. Okay. Right. So look, let's see. Today, we're going to be talking about jerseys, and more jerseys by the looks of it. So we're going to kick off. There's a bit of chat about possibility of change of ownerships and some defections to of countries and not a level. So we'll talk about jerseys. It looks like South American jerseys we're going to have a chat about first. And there's a common theme coming through in these jerseys is that they're not very good. Put them simply, they're just not very good. And so let's go with the South American jerseys first. I think some of you.
So let's just explain to people what these South American jerseys are all about, because a whole bunch of people aren't even going to know.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
What we're on about, including yourself. I mean, you admitted beforehand that you actually didn't know much about this. So, folks, what's happening is we have Major League Rugby in North America, obviously with the USA sides plus one from Canada, and now being led by Argentina, who lead all things wonderful in the Americas. They set up the Americas Rugby Championship, for example, that includes 6 sides. But now they've also set up a professional club competition in South America, again with 6 sides. Now, initially there were going to be more than that, but in the end, it's best to start off with what you can start off with, rather than trying to bite off more than you can chew. So this time it's going to be 5 teams one plus one from Colombia, who are going to be playing an exhibition series. It's good to see that the professional league is kicking off. We've got Argentina, Brazil, Uruguay. Oh, can't find the other 2 now. Chile. Oh, and who's the other one?
Probably not Venezuela.
Probably not Venezuela.
Probably not.
I've gone and lost it now. I had a list. Anyway, so there's going to be these 5 teams plus the one from Colombia. The 5 teams are all going to play home and away, and the Colombian team are going to play, I'd say, just an exhibition this year. And they're just going to play against the team that came 5th to decide who comes 5th and 6th. But it's fantastic to see that basically that it has kicked off, or it is going to kick off. Initially, there were going to be 2 teams in Brazil, 2 teams in Argentina. But hey, as I say, do something manageable, and then build on it. As we've seen with Major League Rugby, they've built it up and built it up and built it up, and got more teams each year. So it's really good that it is kicking off. But they did come the jerseys. Now, I'm not quite sure whose jersey is whose, but we have a red jersey, which is fine. We then have a white jersey, which is again okay.
You only like the white jersey because it reminds you of home.
No, I'm just saying it's okay because it's just plain white. Then we have 4 other jerseys that are less than okay. I mean, so which one do you want to go for first?
Oh look, basically you summed it up in your tweet. I was gonna allude to your tweet during the week. About the fact that they all look like they should be on jockeys on horses.
Well, one of them does, because they've got basically reverse.
Or something like that.
There's one jersey which is reverse chevron. So chevron facing upwards rather than downwards, which is what you'd normally see in a rugby league jersey. So reverse chevrons, but striped like a bumblebee, which looks very jockey-like. So that's going to be an interesting one. We then have a throwback jersey to the New Zealand Super Rugby jerseys, So it looks a bit like the old Chiefs jersey in the blocking pattern.
Which one? There?
Well, it's got blue and then it's got a red shoulder and a yellow shoulder. It looks a
You
little
reckon
bit.
that looks like an old Super Rugby jersey, you reckon?
The old Chiefs jersey. Remember these are two block colours and then yellow and red and then
Oh,
black.
right, okay, yeah, but darker colours instead of bright sort of colours.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's another white jersey.
And they're all going to be 15 coaches running around on the field by the looks of it.
Yeah, because they're sponsored by Coach, whoever Coach is. But at least they've got a sponsor, and the other teams have, which must mean that's the Argentinian team. Then white with the black line across, which looks a bit boring. And then black at the top, white at the bottom with graduation of white dots getting smaller and smaller and smaller. A bit like Steve would like it. It looks like a fizzy drink.
I thought you were going to get Matrix.
No, but no, Matrix. Matrix is the Highlanders. The Hurricanes jersey this year. That is so Matrix, with the dotted lines going sideways.
Hey, we're getting ahead of ourselves though.
We are.
So basically, we're pretty much saying that these jerseys are pretty rubbish.
Well, pretty much saying actually, the professional league in South America, all we really know about it is the jerseys. So that's all we can talk about.
So that's all we can talk about. But one thing we can say is that it's a great start, because if you look at MLR out of USA, that's starting to get some good momentum with some good name players coming in this season. Obviously, this one being the first season. If there's a little bit of money behind it, hopefully over the next few years, they can start getting some tier 3, tier 2 players from around the world coming there, and possibly some retired tier 1 players in about 3 or 4 years' time. So there's a platform that's been laid through MLR, and hopefully with the South American League that it can follow a similar sort of curve.
Yeah, I mean, these are weaker economies. Okay, this is not the USA. So it's going to take some time for it to build up, you'd think.
Yeah.
So, but
it really comes down to, rugby outside of like the main countries. It's about a rich benefactor adopting a team and throwing lots of money at them, isn't it? It's not like you're not gonna make the money out of them as a commercial entity, really.
No, but it's interesting how these teams have been set up. So for example, the Brazilian team is Corinthians, which is basically the football team, are adding a.
Right.
And if we look at how some of the European or the clubs in Spain, for example, if you think about Barcelona, they have a basketball side, they have a hockey side, they're a sports club. It just happens their football team is the biggest team or biggest sport within the club. And it's interesting to see them going that sort of route. So Corinthians from Brazil. Olympia Lions.
Just don't say Barcelona too often. I'll have to break into song.
Oh, dearie me, no. So I think a couple of the teams are linked with football teams. A couple of them are brand new, and a couple of them are existing, stepping up existing rugby, sort of amateur rugby teams. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out. I'll be keeping an eye on it as close as I can. Obviously, none of them are in English-speaking countries, so getting any kind of commentary or written articles about it, it's going to be fairly few and far between. America's Rugby News is probably the best place if you want to have more info on that kind of stuff. Before we get on to other jersey news, Bougelad is no longer the majority owner of Toulon. This comes as a bit of a shock.
Obviously, in our notes we've got apparently. So I was just that's now been confirmed, has it? And since we've gone to air. So
it got confirmed overnight. I wrote this up yesterday, and he's still president of the club, so he's not going to shut up, unfortunately.
Yep.
But the minority, or the person who had 41% now is the an 80-year-old billionaire is now the main owner. Let's hope his son, daughter, whoever is inheriting, because obviously he's not going to survive for much longer, being 80, is also interested in rugby. Otherwise, if they pull the plug, then that's not so good. We've seen it happen in cycling recently with BMC, where the owner of BMC tragically died and they pulled the sponsorship from the cycling team the next year because he was the person who was interested in cycling. So we hope something like that doesn't happen. But yeah, interesting that Bougelad, and he said he's done that for basically cash reasons. Obviously, being a multimillionaire isn't enough nowadays to play to play with the rugby team in France. You have to be even richer than that. So he was finding it like that. Getting spots of buffering, yeah, I'm sorry, folks. We've got some technical issues. I've got a brand new computer, so it should all be good. I just can't get the computer to talk to my Ethernet cable, hence we're on Wi-Fi, and we're at the edge of the limit of the Wi-Fi, which is why we're having that problem. So I know what the issue is. I will track it down and sort it for tomorrow night's All Blacks edition. One step at a time. So I was when I first saw this news about Bougelad, I was like, yay, he's going to leave rugby. We're not going to have his rubbish ranting anymore on Twitter and things. But no, unfortunately not. He is still going to be ranting, but he is no longer the full owner.
Look, I mean, but I know what you're saying about his rantings and the like, but at the end of the day, the occasional rants are good because it's sort of it's a bit of a change from the usual dross that you get. You know, the petted out lines that we get from the coaches all the time. So you know, or the CEOs or the owners or whoever else. So something else, just to mix it up a bit.
It does mix it up a bit, but you see some of his rants years ago, mate. You knew that these guys would go play international rugby when you hired them. If you're upset about it, hire somebody else. That kind of stuff annoys me. I'll be honest.
It gives us the opportunity to go, yeah, good on you, Richard. Like that. yeah, Richard.
Oh, dear. What are our thoughts on the chat about New Zealand moving away from Super Rugby? I'll be honest, I've missed that chat.
I haven't heard of that chat recently. I've heard of that chat some time ago, and it's something that when I get together with my mates, we sort of discuss anyway. And there are at times. I mean, like it's such a difficult one. I sort of think at times, like, geez, why couldn't we run an inner, like the league competition here in the South Pacific that we have, basically running out of Australia, and you could have more teams out of New Zealand, you could have more teams out of Australia, and then you could possibly throw in some South Pacific teams. It would just come down to, could you get the money to put that competition together? And again, that would come down to then, is there a broadcaster willing to pay the dollars that would run that competition?
Or let you own them, as Sky seems to be doing with New Zealand Rugby now. So my view on the way that domestic rugby should be set up is, I believe domestic rugby should be done along time zone. So I think there should be domestic competitions in basically the Americas that overlap, domestic competitions in Europe / Africa that can overlap, and domestic competitions in kind of in Oceania and East Asia. So basically, have New Zealand move away. New Zealand and Australia should basically move away from South Africa and Argentina, and team up predominantly with Japan and Hong Kong from a dollars point of view, and then also the Pacific Islands from a playing quality point of view. Is how I would do it, but.
No, because I'm sort of thinking, like if you could get sort of. I mean, we've already got 5 teams out of New Zealand. If you could get the money, you could run, say, 6, 7, maybe 8 teams out of New Zealand. It would go back to a bit more sort of. One thing I'm hearing more and more, and it's a growing trend in this sort of comment, is the fact is that people are sort of losing their interest in Super Rugby because they just don't feel that the Super Rugby teams represent who they are, or the area that they're from, and they feel that their NPC teams in particular are more representative. Now, I know what NPC sort of obviously I can't think of the word, but not a dying competition, but a demonstration, a development. That's a development type competition, but that's because of the way that it's they've changed
now,
it. But
you say that people have more connection with with the Mitre 10 Cup sides. And yet, if you look at the crowds that turn up for a Blues game as opposed to an Auckland game, the Blues game one's bigger. The same for the Chiefs versus Waikato, the same for all these places. So I get that for the die-hard, they have a tighter connection to the Mitre 10 Cup than they do the Super Rugby. But as far as broad appeal goes, I don't think it has a broader appeal than Super Rugby.
But the reason why that's happened is because the competition's changed, the goalposts changed. I mean, the quality of the games isn't the Super Rugby level. The marketing isn't there. The marketing promotion. So if you don't promote something, people, we've got die-hard fans, and I know, we have conversations with these die-hard fans. They don't even know that an Auckland game was on because they didn't hear about it, or sort of, wasn't.
Yeah, but I'm saying
coming through.
People, it's your diehards with the greater connection. I don't think. I think the problem with Super Rugby, I think, is for me is a couple of things. One is how it's been too lopsided in the fact that basically New Zealand sides win it every year, which gets a little bit boring. It's not competitive. And secondly, a third of the games or 2/3 of the games are in the middle of the night when people can't watch them, and your team disappears for 2 or 3 weeks, and you can't watch your team for a couple of weeks for that. So you lose interest and you get distracted by other things. So by having it in the same time zone, I think that that way you'd see a team every week. They wouldn't disappear for weeks on end. And
yep.
Yeah, so to me that would be a much more sensible way of doing it. One of the things I'm going to be having is I'm trying to line up a chat with a fan of the Cheetahs, for example. Now the Cheetahs have had 3 games in 2 months. Now how they are supposed to maintain interest in their fan base with that kind of thing, I've got no idea. So I'm interested to talk to him as to how that works out. But yeah, that to me I think is Super Rugby's big problem is competitiveness. And be able to regularly see your team.
Yeah, because when Super Rugby first started, people used to get up in the middle of the night to watch their team play at 3 o'clock in the morning. You used to wake up. The commentary used to be on the radio at 3 o'clock in the morning. You don't even get score updates anymore.
No, I think South Africa should go whole hog to Europe and by and with the Pro 14 personally, and Argentina needs to build up very quickly their that South American
La Liga.
competition. Yep. So that's my view. Thank you for someone pointing out that it was just Mertz talking rubbish again. It's not actually any real conversations. It's Mertz just getting himself in the press. Yeah.
Well, Mertz might be talking his normal noise, but the reality is that it's conversations that are actually being held by rugby fans as well. I mean, as we just said, die-hard and hardcore rugby fans are having these sorts of conversations outside of Mertz bringing it up as well.
Yeah, but there is no serious talk. Let's be
not serious.
By the union.
No, it's over a pint.
Yes. Someone saying, what do you think this talk of it moving? Yeah, it's not talk. It's Mertz just having a chat in the media. In all honesty. So that's one thing that happened there. Other news: Conor O'Shea has left Italian rugby and has moved over to the RFU. Now, I think that's a real shame for Italian rugby. I really was hoping he would take on a director of rugby role there and lead their development, because he's done some really good work with Italy behind the scenes. So he has moved. I say it's a shame for Italy. And Angel Del Jesus will come back to your comment at the end of this section. That's unfortunate for them, because he's doing some really good work building the pathways. But he's now going to do that for the RFU, and thankfully Nigel Melville is moving on. Now, for those of you that don't know, Nigel Melville was the guy who set up the Rugby Channel, Pro Rugby, and RIM, which are the things that basically managed to bankrupt USA Rugby. So whilst he was in charge of professional rugby at the RFU, I had some serious concerns about the viability of the RFU. So thankfully he's gone, and hopefully out of rugby entirely. But unfortunately for Italy, it's taken Conor O'Shea leading them to come over. I get that's all European stuff that you don't really care about, do you, Ashwin?
Was it, sorry? European, what? Sorry?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, no, I was going to, it's just like, it's interesting, an Irishman who's leaving Italy to go to help out England.
Well, yes, it is. But I say, thankfully they got rid of Nigel Melville along the way there. World Rugby rankings. There's been no movement. There's been no games this week. I can't even talk about Lithuania changing places. So that's your update. Is that there's been no international rugby this week, or no changes in the standings. We will keep you up to date every week with who are the biggest movers and shakers in the World Rugby rankings. We won't just concentrate on the top 10.
How many days until Six Nations? It's about 60 days?
Something like that,
less than that.
I saw that. I saw a tweet saying 61 or something days ago. Yep. And don't forget, remember, it's 60 days until Super Rugby kicks off, 31st of January.
Yeah, something like that too. Yeah. About 3 days after I get back.
So, that's good. It means you don't miss any of your season tickets games.
No. I just got to receive the pack.
So, Angel de Jesus asked us, what would happen to Argentina not playing Super Rugby if you go hemispheric? As I say, in South America they've set up a new professional league. It's going to take 5 to 10 years, to be honest, to get up to proper standard. Major League Rugby's 3 years in, and we're seeing that's taking time to get up to standard. Thankfully, some of those players will have played in Major League Rugby last year. Especially some of the Chile players were up there. So we'll see. It has been given a boost. Basically investing in that, and also trying to set up some sort of, a bit like the Heineken Champions Cup, crossover competition between the Major League Rugby and the South American Professional League is what I think should happen there. The Simon Hughes makes a good point, actually, that the only international rugby that's on at the moment is the Africa Cup qualifying tournament. And anyone who's seen the photos of Madagascar's 30 to 40,000 crowd for their game, it's fantastic. I love Madagascar. I'd love to go to Madagascar and watch a rugby game. They really get into their rugby there. It's the national sport. They're useless. Let's be honest. They're not even. They
got 30, 40,000 people there. Come on, I saw it too.
Oh no, they're fantastic crowds. I'd love to go for the atmosphere. I'd love to go for the game, for the atmosphere, for the crowds. But the quality of rugby, unfortunately, because they've got no economy, they can't pay their players. They're all amateurs. They're in like the third division of African rugby. I mean, they're so far down, it's unreal. But they get some of the biggest crowds outside of Tier 1 rugby. It's amazing. I mean, bigger crowds than probably Australia get some of their games, to be honest. So
you know what? They need to schedule a game against the Giants from New York.
The Giants? What, the American football team?
That's a Madagascar movie gag.
Oh,
sorry.
Okay. No,
so come on, you killed it, but that's okay. We're moving right along. But
the 2007, from memory, Hong Kong Sevens tournament, Madagascar had a Sevens team there, and at the same time as the movie had come out, and these two guys turned up in fancy dress, dressed as penguins. And the news reporters tried to get, or got these two guys, and got the Madagascar team and said, "Hey, can I have a photo with you guys together?" And the Madagascar team were like, "Why do you want us to have photos with two guys dressed as penguins?" So there you go. Actually, sorry, there were 3 of them, and they pitch invaded at the end of the game and got at the end of the tournament and got caught, and it was great fun. Anyway, slide line there. On, I guess, Tier 3 rugby for you. So, jerseys.
Sorry, I'll just so 1st of Feb is the kickoff for the Six Nations, and 31st of Jan is the kickoff for Super Rugby. So a day before, basically.
So there you go, folks. That's what we're all holding our breath for. Super Rugby. So we've got the New Zealand Super Rugby jerseys have come out. Are you rushing out to buy a Blues one?
No. No.
Now,
it's just. I mean, it's just. I mean, I don't know. We sort of let's bundle this in because we'll talk about the South African jerseys as well because obviously we've seen images of those ones come out.
Yep.
You know, I mean, oh geez, I'm trying hard to sort of put some words together and get the words out of my head, but why can't they just design a proper rugby jersey? They're just idiots. They're simply idiots. And when you look at this, I think it's the Bulls that have got a blue jersey for their home, and they've got a blue jersey for their away, or the alternate. And it's just like, oh my God.
It's not an alternate.
That's
their Captain America Marvel superhero jersey.
Yeah, I got that, but it's just like, so they play in their Marvel strip when they're playing the South African teams.
Yep.
They play in the non-Marvel strip when they're not playing a South African team. What do they play in when they've got a clash?
Well, do they play the Blues this year? We'll see.
Yes. I think it's the Storm, or is it the Stormers, or I can't remember, it might be the Stormers. They've got 3 jerseys.
Yep.
Yeah.
So for some reason the Stormers got 3 jerseys, but the other 3 South African teams have only got 2. A great comment was that we can see a decline in the Lions playing performances as their jerseys have got worse. That's also very true. There wasn't anything really good to see out of the South African ones. For the New Zealand ones, to be fair, the Chiefs jersey is good. That's a really nice jersey.
Yeah, that's the only one. Even you know, the rest of them are just like really just rubbish. Tell you the truth. And
so when you looked at the Blues jersey, couldn't you not see? Didn't it screen out to you the vibrancy and the energy that's in Auckland, and all the party atmosphere? And didn't you get that?
And the connectiveness or something, and how the pieces all bring together or something. And it's just like, what is the best Blues jersey that you've heard people talk about? The one that they sort of says, oh, that's a good jersey. Well, there is one jersey that people speak of.
The Harlequin jersey.
The Harlequin jersey. They used against France. And it's just like, that would, not only would that go back to the traditions of rugby in terms of having a rugby style jersey, but it would be something that's different and that's had good market appeal. People liked it.
Yep. So that's a good one. The Hurricanes apparently have gone and taken all the wind data in Wellington since they won Super Rugby and have put it on their jersey in some sort of black line thing that looks very Matrix-esque. Guys, you overthought it, all right? I don't need to know what the wind was 12 days ago, okay? What wind strength was. I just need to look like wind, folks. So the Canes one was really overthought. The Crusaders, well, they spent all their money and all their time designing a phallic logo.
Phallic.
And basically forgotten about their jersey entirely. It is awful. If anything, it looks like chainmail. The whole thing they're trying to get away from in all their marketing, and their jersey looks a little bit chainmailish, which I thought was a big fail on the Crusaders jersey.
Yeah.
And then overthinking it is the Highlanders. There's no tartan, but apparently, and I can't wait for the first scrum that we have. Apparently, when they're in a set piece scenario, the Highlanders jerseys will show a tartan across the scrum, so it'll look like tartan once they're bound together.
But it's just like, the problem is that, here's the thing. It's really obvious that it's not rugby people or anybody with a rugby background that's designing these jerseys. And it's just like, even the All Blacks jerseys for the last World Cup was rubbish. It's just like, they just they're overthinking it.
Yep.
They're trying to get all tricky and some elements PC in terms of some of what they're trying to do, and it's just like they're just becoming stupid jerseys.
I don't think it's as much the PC thing. It's kind of like we're trying to bond with our culture of the club. Guys, seriously, the best, as you said, the Blues one really worked because it had white for North Harbour, blue for Auckland, light blue for Northland, and maroon for North Harbour. It had the colours of the club of the clubs that make up the Blues. That's showing connection with your culture.
Hey, speaking of culture, obviously with the Crusaders, releasing their phallic symbol as their emblem and the like, and they're talking about the red and black colours that represent them. How does South Canterbury feel about the discussions around red and black? How does Tasman feel about the discussions around colours red and black? They're not. They don't give it. They don't. Let's face it. They know what's successful. They know what's working for them, and it's not appeasing everybody. They're appeasing all their sub-unions, for want of a term, by basically winning.
Yep.
And so it's like, you guys, shut up. It is beneficial for you, so just let us do our job. And when you look at particularly the Blues, where they're always trying to make everybody happy with Northland, North Harbour, Auckland, etc., and they're forgetting the most important thing, just go out there and win. And it doesn't matter what the hell your jersey colours are or anything like that.
Well, hang on, but then again, get out there and win. Whilst they might talk about Canterbury being red and black and Tasman being red and blue, if you've ever watched a Canterbury Tasman Mitre 10 Cup game, they all wear the same jersey. You can't tell them apart. Yeah. They might talk about them being different, but in reality, when you see them next to each other, they're the same. So yeah.
That's fair enough. But the fact is that there's no incorporation of the fact that Tasman's red. That's just coincidence. They could have gone with the Nelson. When they amalgamated with Nelson and Marlborough, they could have gone with the Nelson colours of blue. But that wasn't going to happen. It's blue. No. Not in that area.
Okay, so Angel de Jesus, are we pro white collars or anti white collars? What's your stance on white collars, Ashwin?
Oh, just bring back a collar.
Absolutely. So, yes to white collars. Yes to proper collars. Hence, I've got the polo jersey here of the Exeter Chiefs version rather than the playing jersey. But definitely with the collar. But this thing that starts on the shoulders and goes backwards and is white does not look like a collar. It makes it look like you're wearing like a Vickers kind of a reverse Vickers neck thing.
But yeah.
Do not, no, collars don't start at your and just to the back half of the. No, if you're going to do a white collar, do a collar.
Do a collar.
If you're not going to do a collar, forget the white collar entirely. Don't try and just kind of paint a bit of white on there.
Through the NPC, obviously, teams didn't have white collars. Canterbury would have I think it was a black collar. Wellington had a yellow collar.
Oh yeah, but I think he's talking about the All Blacks jersey. But definitely bring back collars entirely. But as far as the All Blacks are concerned,
the All Blacks. Yeah, white collar for the All Blacks.
And
looking into his goodie bag.
Scramble through my jersey for tomorrow night.
Look, there you go. See, it's got a white collar.
White collar. There we go. And also,
you won't get the Kiwis on it.
Yeah, Kiwis on it as well.
Oh yeah. Now, just so that people do realise that if they ever see the triple C of the Canterbury, that there's 3 Kiwis in there. I was surprised when I recently heard people still didn't realise there were 3 Kiwis in there.
I'll be honest. I did. It took me a while. I've known it for quite a few years now, but yeah, the first time I saw it was like, boom! Wow. Okay. Yeah. That's where did that come from?
Look, the jerseys are rubbish. They also need to go back to having true, proper alternative jerseys as well. Yeah. They don't do that. And
they need cotton supporters jerseys, right? that we can wear rather than having to wear all these silly thin things in
Nylon.
winter.
They're uncomfortable. Yeah.
Give me a nice
totally.
thick cotton jersey to wear. I'm watching the game and it's cold and I'm sat still. I'm not running around. I don't need something that wicks all the water away from me really quickly.
Paul,
Yep.
did you get the memo? Super
one?
Rugby starting on the 31st of Jan.
It's true, yeah, in the middle of summer. That's right.
I mean, you're warm.
Okay, yeah, Super Rugby. I need them to be thin. Yeah, Mitre 10 Cup, real rugby, proper cotton jerseys, please. So on the Crusaders logo, look, I can see what they were trying to do. They're trying to do a Maori. So the letter C doesn't exist in the Maori alphabet, apparently. So they didn't actually have a letter to go with, and I saw how they were trying to create it with a Maori kind of feel, but boy oh boy did they get it wrong. Somebody at some point should just put, guys, look, we can't have that as a logo. It just is. It's just not. It's wrong in so many ways. So they're going to stick with it. Let's be honest. They're not going to back down now they've done it. And I just feel sorry for all the Crusaders supporters and the amount of stick they're going to get over it.
No, you don't.
For the next decade.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
I do. I think it's a bit unfair on the supporters I personally, I would ditch the Crusaders name. I'd also ditch the Blues name because they've got nothing to do with where the teams are from. We're trying to do all this kind of linking to the culture of the place. Get a name that actually links to the place.
Yeah.
Highlanders. Yeah, there's lots of Scottish people in the South in that part of South Island, and it's got lots of mountains. Hurricanes. It's windy in Wellington. Okay, the Chiefs. Look, it's a very Maori spot. Yeah, absolutely. I get all of that. But the Blues and the Crusaders, change your names, guys. Start again because you got it wrong the first time round.
Yep. Allows the Waratahs to become the Blues again, who were always the Blues before anyway, before Super Rugby started. But that's another story. No, it used to be you didn't really refer to the Waratahs as the Waratahs. You used to refer to the Waratahs as the Blues.
I like the Waratahs. It's a name. It's different to anywhere else. It's not Bulls. It's not Sharks. It's not Warriors.
But the thing is that it actually had some history behind it. It actually had some history behind it, and the fact that it had been there for so long. That's what they call it. From up north. And they used to hate each other and, beat each other up.
Yeah, also, the Reds, get rid of that crappy name as well. Seriously, guys, get a proper name, not a colour. Okay, so Reds needs to also change. While we're at it. So, but the rest of them are okay. On the whole, Sharks, but again, hey, they've been Sharks for a long time, and they do have great white sharks off Durban. So I guess you can call yourself Sharks. Do. Unlike Sale, which is a landlocked town, and they don't have big sharks near there either. Sale Sharks, bad choice of name, guys. Anyway.
We digress from jerseys.
No. I've moved on to logos.
I just have to ask. Just with the Exeter jersey that you're wearing, is it actually beige? I'm just making sure that it is beige because obviously computers can change the colours a bit.
No, it's black and light. It's black and light blue and white.
Really?
Yes.
Because on my computer it just comes up as like dark brown and light brown, like the old New Zealand one-day cricket top.
No.
I'm not kidding you. I am not kidding you. That's what it looks like on my computer screen.
You need to go get yourself a new computer, just like I've done.
I'm talking to your mum and dad.
And talking, talk to my mum and dad. Yeah, my $200 a month I get from my supporters doesn't buy me a new MacBook Pro, unfortunately. But as I'm talking about supporters, thank you so much to my supporters. They do mean the world to me. It is, and I've got a couple of really cool For Your Ears Only videos coming up. Chatting with Nix about rugby discipline. She wrote an article for me last weekend. But we're going to have a talk with a video chat about consistency within basically bands and stuff. And she reads through the disciplinary hearing notes of every one. So she's all over it. So that's going to be a great chat. I've got another one I say with a Cheetahs fan coming up as well. So go over to drivingmaul.com and you become a supporter of the channel. And look, you can do it for as little as $1 a month, or you can go all the way up to $50 or even higher actually. But $50 is the highest anyone's actually donated per month so far. Yeah, head over there, drivingmaul.com, please, to become a supporter of the channel. Queensland koalas are brilliant. That's what we need. Queensland koalas.
But aren't the koalas all through Australia?
They probably are, and they're also the koalas are down. Well, they're definitely getting caught by all these bushfires, and all these bushfires are not in Queensland, are they? They're down in New South Wales. So
no. They've got bushfires all over. There's major bushfires in Queensland as well.
There we go. They wanted to join in. Didn't want to miss out. That's good to see.
It's just that what we get on the news over here has been primarily focused on New South Wales, but I know that firefighters from New Zealand have actually gone to Queensland, as mainly New South Wales, but a few have gone to Queensland as well. So
that's
shout out
because
to
basically people from New Zealand go on holiday to Sydney and Melbourne. That's it. They don't care about Brisbane. So that's why it's in our news. I've only got one last thing, which was Shark Brits actually is retiring from rugby. Now I think this is really sad, because I think the Stormers should have got in their Super Rugby team, because he has played for the Bulls, the Lions, and the Sharks already. He only needs to play. He's come on for like 5 minutes at the end of a game, and he would play for all of the Super Rugby franchises in South Africa. I think that'd be fantastic. So Brits, please sign up. And just play 5 minutes and then retire.
That actually came out over a week ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, probably. But I've had technical issues.
Yeah. No, but I'm just sort of thinking, because when I saw it, I'm just making sure. I was quite surprised that he is retiring already.
He's 38. What do you mean already?
Oh, is he?
He's one of the oldest players around. Wow. Yes.
Holy crap! Honestly, it didn't seem that way.
He'd effectively retired already, and then got asked to come back to play asked by Rassie Erasmus to come back and play for the Springboks, and so he said, "Oh, okay, then I'll play some Super Rugby, I guess." That basically came back for the Rugby World Cup for 2 years after he'd already retired.
And he's saying he's 38.
I'm pretty sure he's 38. I'm pretty sure he retired at like 36, and they got him, and they could have asked him to continue from Saracens. I'm pretty sure he was 36 when he left Saracens. Cool. Any other topics in the live chat? Because I think I've run through all the things in my notes for today. Or anything from you, Marshall, actually?
Not really. I think, what it comes down to is that we're basically waiting to for the seasons to start, aren't we? Six Nations or Super Rugby. Obviously, as somebody alluded to, I can't remember who it was. I think I might have been biased in the old chat room, saying that the old African competition is going on, but other than that, we're sort of waiting for Super Rugby to start.
As Osman says, basically he's jetting off to the States, and so it's unlikely we're going to have him on the channel. But I will be soldiering on. You will be getting something about rugby every week on a Tuesday night at 8 p.m. on the channel, all the way up to Super Rugby. There will be stuff to talk about. As you say, people like Bougelad and Conor O'Shea moving around, if nothing else. So, what do you think about the teams in the new South American competition? Basically, I need to look a bit more into that, to be honest with you, Simon. But I think it's great that it's happening. I thought there were going to be more. Everyone expected there was going to be more. But as I say, start off with what you can and then grow it is definitely the best way to go forward. So thank you, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow night with Stephen Harris and John O'Connor as we'll talk All Blacks. And what we're going to talk about actually is some of the New Zealand schoolboy system as well, and how that creates All Blacks. We've had a bit of a chat in the old messenger group about this one that's got a lot of opinions flowing. So I think we'll touch on that because listening to the Bay of Plenty, Clayton, I've got blank to his surname, the Bay of Plenty head coach, McMillan, that's it, thank you, head coach, about what it takes to make a Mitre 10 Cup side. It'll show you that basically the players need to migrate to some of the bigger schools if they want to make it as professionals, even though I know that that's not the romantic image that we have of pine tree running up and down the field, running up and down a hillside with a sheep over each shoulder in King Country. But to be honest with you, if you're in King Country, you have to move to Hamilton. You can't make it as a schoolboy, a professional player out of King's Country anymore. I don't think.
Interesting, isn't it? We were just talking with having a sidebar conversation over the last couple of days around colleges, high schools, building up super teams basically.
Yeah, exactly.
And and then you got Hamilton.
That's what we're going into depth tomorrow night.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll be talking about that. We'll also Artie Surveyor's obviously got injured, so we'll have a look at the depth chart around eight, or at least the back row, and stuff like that. So join us tomorrow night, 8 PM on the All Blacks edition. Thank you so much, Arsene, for joining me. Don't forget NZ Fatso on Twitter.
No problem.
So check him out
Merry
there.
Christmas, everybody, and a Happy New Year.
Cheers. I will be back next week, so you don't have to do Merry Christmas quite yet. Thank you, everybody. Catch you all later.